Thank you very much for having me. I know this talk has a different title than had been advertised, but as I was able to come and join today, we changed the title so I could talk a bit more about aggregation, the role of aggregation in libraries, and how that's evolving as a resource, and how it's core to some of the services that you look to provide. So thank you very much, first of all, for having me. First, I want to start with a basic premise and things that I hear as I talk to librarians all over the world, in Eastern Europe, in Central Europe, in the United States, Latin America, Asia. And they all have their own individual challenges. They all are concentrating on their own specific areas. But the thing that continues to unite them is the need and desire to connect researchers to information. And it's not solely just to make that connection, but it's to help them find the content, then use the content and transform the content into something, into a new piece of work, into something that is new, that advances scholarship, that advances learning, and then sharing that learning. So it's that premise that makes me think about aggregation and the role of the library and where I think things are going and have been. So you'll notice there won't be too many words on my slides. They're mostly pictures because I wanted to get you thinking about aggregation yourself and the role it might play for you. And as I was thinking about what's an image, what's an idea that tries to capture what aggregation is, I came upon the terracotta warriors from Xi'an in China. Thousands and thousands of these warriors were unearthed in the tomb of an emperor to protect him in the afterlife. And the amazing thing is that each individual statue is unique. No two pieces are the same. You can see they're organized into different rows, like different disciplines. They're united in the front, and together there's something bigger than any individual piece. And that's where I think aggregation is. They work to get each individual piece of content, different formats, different styles, can be brought together to add greater value than any single piece. It's the platform that brings that to you. That's another place that adds value. So this is the way that I was thinking about aggregation, tied in many different pieces serving a single cause. So just to back up, when we think about aggregation, when I think about it as a publisher of aggregated products at ProQuest, I think about the history and how the resources have evolved over time. And originally, we started with abstracts and indexes. These aggregated resources originally were clipping services and ways for people to find different pieces of information. And in many respects, the ANI still remains the strong spine of aggregated resources because they allow for the best finding aids. Over time, we've wrapped full text, scholarly full text around the ANI, but we still need to be able to have those finding tools, more full text. And then again, yet further, more scholarly resources, dissertations, working papers to get people to the content sooner, conference proceedings, and coming now, ebooks. And you'll see the next wave ties in news and trade journals, reports, market research, business cases and video. And the reason that I've set a red ring around the innermost circles is those pieces tend to tie into scholarly research to be published in journals, whereas that outside ring ties into learning environments. How are professors using this in the classroom? How are they driving students to think about real-world application of scholarly knowledge. And it's tying the two together. And over time, we'll see even more types of information coming together, each to be utilized in its own way, provided on a single platform. So the innermost parts tie into the needs of faculty to continue to publish, driving their students to learn about scholarly resources, and those outermost fragments tie into practical application. And this is where aggregation is going as we look across this point. So an interesting study that ProQuest undertook, the last speaker was talking about how do we reach faculty, how do we understand where they're going and how they're studying. I think there's a general belief that research is becoming more interdisciplinary. And certainly an assumption about scholarly journals, but it is about an expanded set of resources and bringing them together in a way that's simple and easily accessible for people to get through. So within that context, once we have the right content, and once we have content that is broad enough to help interdisciplinary study, and once they have content that with strong A&I, abstract and index, so that they can link out to other pieces of the collection, what are the tools? What is the platform? And how do we make that simple? Aggregation, I think, is a key part of the portfolio of a library's resources. Not the only piece, but it's an important, critical piece. And that we have strong A&I to link out to e-journals. We have tools embedded into the platform because sets of e-journals may not have designed the platform for the library, may not have designed the platform for detailed research. So having that robust platform with features like RSS alerts and RSS feeds and alerts, bibliographic tools, advanced search options, filtering. After you've found a broad search, how do I narrow down quickly to the types of articles or areas of interest, related searches, to help me find context and articles that I might not have even known that I was searching for, but are just the right type for me. And areas that I can save my research so I can come back to it and share it with colleagues with whom I'm collaborating. So the platform is as important as the content when we're thinking about aggregation. And it's really that starting point for people to come in and be able to find all of the resources, including the content that's there. So, aggregation is not the perfect solution for every area and every discipline. Some literature, some history. Aggregated resources tend to be items that are for more current research in business, science, technology, and medical, the social sciences, and news and general reference. These are the pieces that are the, as I see it, the four pillars that tie into research. In individual universities, they focus on business, others on technology, computing, science, and may start with various selections. But what I see over and over, as I hear from customers around the world, is that having any single piece will not necessarily meet the needs of today's researchers. And what's happening with the scholars is being asked of the graduate students, and is then being asked of the undergraduates, continuing all the way up. The scholarship is advancing. The needs for the entry-level students are becoming the same types of needs that are demanded by the faculty. So we want to acknowledge this growing need and also understand that aggregation will give you not just core disciplines, but will help you out in the tail of the bell curve. And if forgive me. I will refer to a ProQuest product. I was trying not to make this too product focused, but just by way of example, ProQuest Central is one of the largest aggregated products in the market, in the library market today. And you can see by distribution of titles, there is a strong concentration on 30 core subjects, but we spread across 160 subjects to title it out. And this helps when you're looking at a field of study like environment or green studies, because you may have people coming in from environmental studies or engineering, or sociology, or business, or psychology, or geology. All of those people will want resources here. I was told this story about a faculty member who was interested in one specific journal or one specific course. It was music therapy, the Journal of Music Therapy. Something that librarians would say, I cannot afford to take my limited resources and budget to buy you this single journal for this single class. But through the breadth of aggregated resources, you can start to pick up items that are out in these tails. You can start to realize significant value to support items that are not necessarily just in the center of this curve. And when you think about music therapy, you can serve music, you can serve psychology, you can serve social services and social work. And there are thousands of examples just like this, where items that seem to be not exactly in the center of the core, that are in those adjacent fields, are supported by aggregation. So it's a great value play. It's the kind of play that fits in with e-journals. And by way of facts and examples, I've had customers tell me that of their entire university ongoing serials budgets, that 2 e-journal packages account for more than 25% of their annual spend. A very important investment for those places. But when you think of the value you can get and the breadth from aggregated resources and diversity of content, some pieces of content will have an embargo, and that's why there's a portfolio approach with aggregated resources in e-journal. That will fit a much wider array of content and resources and researchers at every single level. So my last image is Rock of Gibraltar, because I really think aggregation is foundational and is something that will last and is something that will continue to evolve, unlike Gibraltar, which has remained the same, but can lay the foundation with this strong platform that can then integrate in other resources, whether natively or via linking. And the things that I would ask that you think about and that you take away, and as you evaluate your own resources, when you think about aggregation, think about, do we have high quality abstracting index so that I can find the best results? If you have the content but you can't find it, you do not have the content because nobody will use it. Do you have scholarly content? There is always a drive toward more journals. That's a key component. Do you have dissertations? Do you have things like working papers that will get scholars to the content before it's published in those journals so that they can start to advance their research? So think of it more broadly in content. Do you have the diversified source types? So conference proceedings, news, books, video, trade magazines, all of these individual pieces coming together. And finally, the platform. Do you have the right kind of platform with tools that will meet the needs of the library to teach and meet the needs of the researchers to take their time on the platform and get them to those pieces of information. So it's easy and intuitive. So in addition to the aggregated, if you can layer in other historical content into that platform, make that cross-searchable, and if you design this platform so that it has the right tools at the right time to meet the needs of the researchers. That's my talk. Thank you very much for your time.